And away we go. Hi, folks. It's Larry here. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Kyle Mills. He, of course, is now the author of the Mitch Rapp series of novels, originally created, of course, by Vince Flynn, the immortal Vince Flynn. And the latest book is Oath of Loyalty, out this week, and it's fantastic. And we're going to talk to the author about this book and the Mitch Rapp saga, and what it's like to write for Vince Flynn posthumously and all that jazz. Very excited. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can be part of our locals group, our locals community. Same with Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching us, join our locals community, and you'll be first up for any questions that you might have. Also, I want to let you know that after today's book club interview with Kyle Mills, I've got a preview for you. The TV show starts on Salem News Channel next Monday. We premiere, and I'm going to give you a little treat. We've got the show opening that you guys are the only ones that get to see. So I'll show it to you right after our interview with Kyle Mills. Also, next week, Thursday, our live stream is going to be, we'll be 4 shows in to the new television show on Salem News Channel. So we're going to watch a couple of the segments that we did, and we'll talk about it, and I'll be able to give you some behind-the-scenes insights and some of the things that went into doing that TV show. We're very excited. We've been working all week on the new show, and it premieres at 9 p.m. Monday night, the 3rd. So maybe we'll do a viewing party or something. I don't know what we're going to do. Anyway, without any further ado, let's bring in our special guest. He is the aforementioned Kyle Mills. He is the author now of the Mitch Rapp novels, the entire saga, created by Vince Flynn and now handed off in wonderfully good hands to the amazing Kyle Mills. Kyle, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on another great book.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm excited that it's finally out on the street.
And I bet. When did you actually? I'm interested just in terms of the mechanics. When was this put to bed for you, Oath of Loyalty?
I think it was due in early April, and then it takes about another month to clean it all up and get it out to the printer.
That's got to be so weird. I mean, I work in such an immediate business. In talk radio, it's like you do prep work and then you do it and it's done and you walk away, and everyone's already heard it. And you've got it, you do it, you finish it, you put it to bed, and then you got to wait 7 months for people to finally actually see your work product.
Yeah, it's not good for people who don't like delayed gratification, because by the time you start it and you finish it, then you put it to bed, then it comes out. It's like a year and a half or something.
I can't imagine. I mean, I guess in people in movies, it's so funny when people are like doing, you see actors doing this whole publicity thing for movies, and they literally did it, a year ago, right? Or a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And then you think how long it was in production hell, probably 10 years, right?
Right. I've spoken to so many authors over the last couple of months, and they were very frustrated with supply chain issues post-COVID. Paper is a major deal in the publishing industry right now. Did you have any speed bumps with the release of this book?
I was lucky, but I do know people that had delayed book launches because of that or shipping or whatever. But I got lucky and it was smooth sailing.
So your latest several Mitch Rapp novels, Kyle, it seems that, many of them have a bit, listen, all of them connect. They all have connective tissues, certainly. But the last book and leading into this book, that was a cliffhanger. We knew, you left us hanging for this new book with so many unclosed doors, let's say. And this is sort of a pattern now where you sort of do them in batches in a way. Do you think through these books like 2, 3 at a time now?
No, not really. This one, I mean, Vince always did that. He'd have these books that there's an entire arc that goes throughout the entire series. Is more than 20 books now. And then you have these mini arcs that maybe it's too big a story to tell in one novel.
Mm-hmm.
So this book was really initially meant to be an arc, 3-book arc, kind of about the fall of American democracy from the inside. But I finished the last book, Enemy at the Gates, kind of there was the first draft, right when there was a lot of talk about the election being stolen and January 6th happened, and it felt a little bit too on the nose, in the sense that people might not want to read it, might not be that fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the second draft, I kind of backed out of that and made it less less of an arc, less of an idea of a 3-book arc, and then this is the one putting it to bed, putting that whole arc to bed.
One interesting thing about what you've done here in the last, I want to say, 4 Mitch Rapp novels, Kyle, is you have felt free to end some of these character stories. You kill off some characters. And I was it hard for you to sort of have the courage to say, yeah, you know what? It's your series now. Obviously, this is Vince's baby. It was all his brainchild. But I mean, Vince Flynn did that as well with the book. Sometimes characters would meet their demise, but it's the moment you write that scene where a character that was created by Vince Flynn and survived many books and many harrowing situations, when you have to actually write the scene where they die. Is that a tough one for you? Do you have to
It
give
is,
a lot of extra thought?
Yeah, well, particularly the character you're talking about, which is kind of a major character, is a character that Vince clearly had wanted to do something with. But these books have to have impact, right? You can't be too much of a coward when you're writing them. They've got to be interesting and surprising and all those things. So it definitely does give me pause, but the other problem you have with this series is it's so long that you got to do a little reading every now and then, or else it just becomes overwhelming, the number of characters and complexities to the universe that you have to describe at the beginning of a book. It get pretty boring.
That brings me to, I was going to ask you this a little later, but it's a perfect entree to it. You bring up a host of characters that we have seen in previous books as well. So you do this often, the bad guys, the assassins, and the people that Mitch or Claudia have had experiences with in the past. And it's almost like this rogue all-star group of sort of villains that aren't entirely villains. They're just doing their job, and you bring them up. Do you have like a matrix that you work from and sort of pick and choose, okay, this one will work here?
No, I just come up with those kind of based on what's needed at the time. And in a way, Claudia's background's a little more colorful even than Mitch's, because she's, very much has friends in low places. She was a criminal, a flat out criminal, whereas Mitch has done some things that maybe he regrets, but he always in the service of the United States and peace and all that. So she's kind of fun to play with because you don't have those parameters. She can just be, her background's more complete scumbags.
God help me though, and forgive me, I actually am more interested in her circle of frenemies and then the people that, especially because of the sort of the fluid allegiances, oh yeah, I tried to kill them and it got botched, and then they tried to kill me, but we're okay now. I love that.
Everybody made money, right? That's the bottom line.
Do you back to the character that was killed? And by the way, anybody who's been reading these books, and anyone who's certainly read your last book, knows that early on here in Oath of Loyalty, there was going to be a confrontation, and it does happen early on with this beloved, I shouldn't say beloved character, but a character that we've known for a long time. Have you gotten feedback from any of the really loyal Mitch Rapp fans who were a little bothered by it?
He was their favorite character in the series, so I think they were disappointed. The other thing I think that's been most interesting about his death and his rationale for what he did, which he explains, is that I thought I had written him as a much more sympathetic character than most people took him. So, and then I revisit it a little bit through Mitch's point of view in the new book, but I saw him as a guy who kind of got caught up in this tide and couldn't get out, and was trying to, he had no good option. He was trying to take the least bad one. But a lot of fans have just been like, oh, he should have, chopped his head off and thrown him to the wolves and all these things. And that's actually not the way I saw
it. Oh, no. I think his end was perfect. It was exactly right, because it's not that easy, and it's not black and white, and it's very complicated. And he was still, in his heart, still the guy that we all knew back in the day, right?
Yeah, the guy who was doing in in the context of there was no right thing, doing kind of the rightest thing he could think of.
Yeah.
But at that level, like you used the word gray. I mean, at the high CIA level and all this stuff, it gets pretty right and wrong becomes fairly fluid.
Yeah. Well, and that brings me. Listen, I know you write, and as did Vince Flynn. You write to be timeless. This book would have been fantastic and relevant 10 years ago, although some of the tech wouldn't have worked. And it's going to be relevant and touching 10, 20 years from now. That said, it's impossible not to read this and not shoot it through the prism of today's headlines. And I think you do that on purpose, right? It's sort of a fact-based fiction.
Yeah, because I mean, Vince did. I mean, if you look at the style, he was writing about, what was the threat that was around the corner,
right?
And in the environment that he existed in and the world existed in. So I've tried to keep that going. But if you think about Mitch Rapp and Vince, they came up in the jihadist period, right? This was a major threat to the United States. I mean, it was something we were learning to deal with, and the world has changed. It's evolved, and Vince hasn't been dead all that long. But it's amazing to think. I don't think people sit around and consider how much the world has changed over the last 10 years. But it's what I do professionally, right? I mean, I sit down every day and think, how would Vince have written this? But and it's really hard to say now because it's nothing like what he faced.
So for people who don't know, and I always want to try to refresh, it's funny, I jump right in with you, Kyle, because we've been having these interviews now for about 5 or 6 years, and I want to pick up right where our last conversation left off. But Kyle Mills came to the Vince Flynn world and Mitch Rapp's world in particular I think it's the hand of God. Your father is a former FBI special agent, and he literally was one of the investigators on the TWA crash that was the instigating event in Mitch Rapp's life, because that ended up being his fiance at the time was on that plane, right?
Right. Yeah. The Pan Am 103 disaster.
Pan Am. Excuse me. Pan Am, not TWA.
So it's kind of interesting because I always know how old Mitch is because he was graduating from college at the exact same time I did, because that was my college graduation dinner in London. And my father's assistant came in and said that a plane had gone down in Lockerbie, but at the time they thought it might have just been a mechanical. And it became evident throughout the dinner that it did not look like a mechanical. And he went off and moved to Lockerbie for, I don't even remember, months to investigate that and to do all the cleanup. And I mean, the investigation, the scale of it was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And it's just amazing. It's just like, it's honestly, it's so unbelievably fortuitous and just sort of fate that you now end up carrying on this story, the fictional story that's based on that real event. And it takes place, of course, in this world of the CIA and FBI and the intelligence agencies. And it brings me back to this character that has had this incredible story arc that ends up where obviously he doesn't survive very long in the book. His character, and this is what I want to ask you about. When you talk about what happened to him was Washington, D.C. happened to him, from my perspective. And much of that was Mitch Rapp's instigate. I mean, Mitch put him in the position to, you're getting out of the field. You're not going to be working with me on these dangerous jobs anymore. You're a father, you've got kids. You need to be the guy that deals with Senate hearings. You're going to be the guy who deals with the suits at Langley. And that became his end, right? Because he ended up, and I guess it's a very long way to put it, but you're telling us in the way you wrote this that ultimately, if you are in that world too long, you can rationalize to yourself the most evil betrayal of your best friend, because DC sort of gets in your head to say, oh yeah, that's the right thing to do.
Sure. I mean, then it's such a different environment than that character grew up in as a Marine. That's much more drawn down. You got your mates, and you've got your mission. This is much grander, and the character had always excelled, and Mitch thinks about this. And why wouldn't he think that when he went to DC, he would excel at that? I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna examine the playing field, more like the battlefield, and he's gonna figure out how to win on it, which is what he did. And I think in the end, Mitch is thinking, well, I kind of did this to him, so I bear some of the blame for it.
Yeah. So that brings us now to, I mean, I'm spending a lot of time on that because that's a pretty momentous moment in the Mitch Rapp series, what happened there.
Yeah.
That takes us to the guts of this book, where we have this president and first lady who obviously Gavin Newsom, just say it, Gavin.
Everybody loves to try to figure out who they are, but it's funny. I do not actually think of
I know
real
you don't.
people when I do these things.
In my mind, it was Gavin Newsom, and I bet in somebody who has a different political persuasion than I do, they could see Ron DeSantis or somebody else, right?
Yeah, it's very much become a mirror.
Yeah, I totally. And by the way, that speaks to the brilliance of how it's written, to tell you the truth. And so I get that, I do. But this is a president and a first lady who absolutely see the opportunity to remake our nation within, and this is, whenever I read books like this, and I think you do it better than anyone, Kyle, it always puts a chill up my spine, where everything, I can see this happening within the confines of our Constitution, and that freaks me out.
Well, it should, yeah.
Yeah.
I think democracy is hard, and not many people do it well. So, and America has always done it really well, but even our founding fathers wrote, pretty extensively, that you're going to be able to keep this democracy as long as you really want it, but it's not going to last. It's not permanent. And I think you're seeing that our democratic institutions aren't maybe as strong as people thought they were, and that people are okay with that to some extent. That they don't see democracy as necessarily fundamental to maybe who we are as a country. I disagree with that. Mitch disagrees with that because I write him. But it's hard for me, for any person to say, I think I really despise, pick a politician, doesn't matter, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, whatever. But if they win, that's my president. It's just the way democracy is. Sometimes your guy wins, sometimes your guy loses, and that's just the way it goes. And so you've got to tolerate that. And that's something, for instance, in the Middle East has not worked. You had the Arab Spring, and they tried democracy, but then, the guy you hate got into power, and nobody could deal with it.
If you're just joining the live stream, this is Kyle Mills. He has been writing the last, what is this, your eighth?
That's the eighth, yeah.
Eighth of the Mitch Rapp series of thriller novels, originated by Vince Flynn. Of course, the latest one is Oath of Loyalty. And you're right. I mean, obviously, whoever wins the presidency is your president, and that's how our nation has been able to survive since George Washington. But from Mitch Rapp,
become the most powerful and successful nation in modern,
But from Mitch Rapp's perspective, he was torn here because suddenly the president of the United States is his enemy. This is Mitch Rapp versus the president of the United States, and it is often brought up in this book that it's like, you can't beat him. He has the full arsenal of the American military against you if he calls to use it. That's what a daunting task for you to sort of chart that out and make it make sense. And have Mitch face that and still figure out a way.
Yeah, it's and it was interesting because Mitch doesn't really want to get involved in this. I mean, when it was a political thing, he really didn't want to get involved in it because, the American, it was exactly what we just talked about. American people voted for him. He's Mitch Rapp's president. Can't stand the guy. They hate each other. Whatever. That's just the way. That's just the way democracy rolls, right?
Duty.
And so that's a huge step. Like killing the president of the United States, kind of a big step. So he wanted to walk away with it, and it's the president that made it personal. Not him.
That's right, and it should be clear. It's Mitch is now a family man. He's tried to be a family man from the first second book, I guess. Really, the second book. He's been trying to be a family man. He's now got this thing going on in South Africa. He's got kind of a wife. He's got kind of a child, and he was ready to be done. He wanted a truce, and then
Yeah.
they went after his home. They went after his family, and that's why he was willing to engage in this.
Right, and then to some extent, that in his mind, that switch kind of flips. He's not going after the president of the United States. He's going after Anthony Cook, a man who had come after him.
Yeah.
So it's very different than like a political assassination. This is self-defense, really.
And speaking of the Cook administration and the people in Cook's circle, and I forget the CIA director, Hemmings, the CIA director, Hargrave, sorry.
Yeah, that's hard for me to remember too.
This groveling sycophantic man in charge of our, way too much lethal force and covert activity. When it's weird to me, and again, it's a mechanical question, and I don't know how to write novels. I can't imagine even trying. When you switch from one character's inner thoughts to another character's inner thoughts, and there's just basically the narrative style of the book. It's so smooth. But it is so, I mean, you really are reading it now through a different personality. Is that how do you do that? Because it's almost like when you're Hargrave, and he's such it's so pathetic when he talks about his devotion to Cook and what he's able to do and all that stuff. But it's so seamless when you're speaking through his voice, and it's almost like he has a different vernacular in the narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think all writers do it differently, but I try to really inhabit those characters. So, I try to become him to some extent, and then I can write from his point of view. Because I mean, think about an obvious, an obvious thing. Maybe you're writing from a poet's standpoint, like you're writing a character who's a poet, and you're writing Mitch Rapp, and they're standing next to each other, and each one of them describes the sunset. Those are going to be very different like the way they do that is going to be very, very different. Mitch Rapp probably be like, it's getting dark. Sorry about it.
Right.
The other guy's going to go on for 3 pages,
Right.
And
so the magenta hues are now dappling across the.
There's no death of another day, and so and that one was particularly complicated because you had 3 very different people often in the room. You had Cook, you had his wife who had a very different point of view than him, and then you had Hargrave who had a really sort of strange personality and goals and dreams and all this that are really different than the other 2.
Is it easier to write these novels when the enemy, when the force that Mitch Rapp is fighting against and trying to outwit is a foreign enemy versus this, where it's very much a sort of, for lack of a better term, a deep state domestic enemy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you were talking about earlier, you've got the tightrope that, I want half the people to yell at me because I'm, trying to make Donald Trump look bad, and the other half to tell me I'm trying to make Hillary Clinton look bad. That's when I know I've succeeded.
But we all know that it's Gavin Newsom, so that's there.
Honestly, in my mind, he does kind of look like Gavin Newsom, but I didn't. It never even crossed my mind. I mean, I live in Wyoming. Let me tell you how often California ever crosses my mind. But yeah, I mean, Gavin Newsom kind of becoming the new boogeyman of the right, not Nancy Pelosi has over it, but it's not any of those people. So I don't ever, you'll notice the words Democrat, Republican never come up.
Totally. No. I appreciate that.
I never hit on any kind of like a partisan. I never talk about abortion or guns or anything like that would, because I don't really think partisan politics is particularly important to our democracy, other than you have to understand that it's the push and pull between these 2 groups that have, has done pretty well for us. We live, it's pretty nice here in America.
Pretty damn nice. Yes.
Pretty really
pretty stable, actually. That's the key. Is incredibly stable. And you're totally right. And by the way, these books, and I've told you, I'm your colleagues or competitors. I don't know how you all view each other. I love all of your books. I love Jack Carr. I love Brad Thor. I love Daniel Silva, and all of them have different politics. I
Yeah,
read these for escape. You know,
exactly.
I got to deal with the headlines every day. This is my escape. So I
Which is
appreciate
why
it.
that's why I did put it in reverse
Yeah.
on the whole fall of democracy thing, because it just it wouldn't have been good escapism. It
Yeah.
would,
In
I think it
fact,
would have been
to
depressing.
be fair, that's one of my beefs with Silva right now. His books have become so on the nose. He's like Trump did this, so I'm going to write about it. It's like, no, I don't want you to do that.
Right.
But I'll take that
Yeah.
up when I talk to him.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's interesting. Vince once wrote a book in which Mitch kind of did this sort of lengthy soliloquy on abortion. And it was really interesting because I read a lot of reviews of these books before I started writing, because I wanted to know where the fans were and what they were looking for. And a lot of people said exactly kind of what you did. They're like, well, I'm sympathetic to the view, but I don't want to read that in my fun.
hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting as I tried to put together how political are these books, how much do they have a strong political point of view, is that important, and things like that.
By the way, if you want to ask some questions while we have Kyle Mills, we have him for a limited time. We don't want to, because he's in. Would you say Wyoming or Montana?
Wyoming, yeah.
God, you lucky bastard! I'm really, really happy for you.
Oh well,
Uh,
it's gonna start snowing tomorrow, so don't need to probably.
if you are a member of our locals community, go ahead and put your questions up there, and we will try to throw those out there as well. Um, the oh God, what were we just saying? In terms of the transcendent quality here, there is one thing that interests me. I love the fact that Gavin Newsom, the President Cook, when he gets into the White House, the first thing he does is he takes out all of the old furniture. He gets rid of the Resolute desk and he puts in, he basically, I envisioned it as like a New York Soho loft kind of office apartment kind of thing going on, high tech,
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
workspace. And honestly, I mean, here's the great thing about it. When you describe that, we all know exactly who you're talking about and we all hate him, right? It's just such a beautiful thing to do.
It's funny though. I did not that intention at all. It was very much more philosophical, that this guy really wanted to change the way, in a fundamental way, he wanted to change America. And
Yeah.
to me, it was really hard for me to picture him doing that from this very traditional
Yeah.
office that kind of looks like it has probably for 100 years, right? So
Right.
I saw it as him being new and young, and so that's why I did it. But I honestly did not have anybody in mind.
I know you did. I know you did. What the one thing is, it's interesting to me that I wonder how the American people would react if that really did happen.
That'd
I
be
I
interesting.
want to think that people would be outraged, but
I have to admit, I look at that Oval Office and think, if I was president, I'd be like, what? Can we just do a little bit of updating? Just a little bit.
maybe a sectional over
Yeah,
here,
sectional. I could be satisfied with that. Maybe if I won a second term, maybe a nice leather chair. I don't know.
little mid-century modern approach,
Yeah,
perhaps. Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
I feel like there's still a VCR in there somewhere.
So are you Mitch is starting to, this has happened over the last couple of books. He's starting to be very well aware of his aging process. Although he's still in great physical condition, and biking obviously is still incredibly important to him. And I love the bike. Are you a bicyclist, by the way? Are you a biker?
I am. I'm actually a really serious cyclist.
Ah,
However, Vince did that,
yes.
not me. I think a lot of people, because I raced bikes and all this stuff and still ride,
Yeah.
walls full of bicycles, think that's for me. But Vince made him a triathlete, a professional triathlete.
No, I know. And the only I didn't ask because I was suggesting that you injected it, but you clearly have an affinity for it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally described his exact bike because I want the company to say thank you by sending me one, but I haven't heard from him.
Dude, you
I
give and
know.
you give and you give.
What more can I just bleed and bleed.
um what's gonna push is gonna come to shove here where Mitch can't keep saving the world like a superhero without actually coming from the planet Krypton. Are you sort of working that into the future in terms of his aging process and his physical abilities?
I'm not really. I mean, I decided because so Vince aged him naturally. So
Hmm.
every book he got a year older. Everybody got a year older. But some people were getting pretty old, and Mitch was getting pretty old. So when I took it over, he was 44. And I decided to kind of stop aging him and sort of gloss over the age thing.
Okay.
But I age him, like, mentally and emotionally. As the world changes and his view changes. So he seems, as he's getting more mature, he talks about his injuries a lot, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not too much gray hair, no canes or anything.
Right.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like he stopped aging. It does seem like he's slowed down. Just in
yeah.
the sheer aspect of the fact that it's not each book is not a year later. I mean, there's the last I think 3 books have really taken place sort of within a 7-month window. I want to say maybe, or am
Yeah,
I
and this new book starts like right.
immediately?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
absolutely immediate. So no time has passed there. But with Mitch is easy though. It's funny because my big problem is his sort of daughter who's 7, and it's very, very noticeable that she doesn't get older.
Yeah, I guess
So
that's true.
people beat me up on that, and I thought, well, maybe I'll start aging her. But then my wife said, well, what happens when she's older than Mitch? And
Yeah,
which is
right.
the point.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm not sure what to do there.
Um, that's hilarious actually to think about, but well, you'll cross that bridge when you come to it, I suppose.
Exactly.
And I want to bring on some of the questions here from our locals community here. From Jeff. Jeff, in fact, is our the head of our book club. Wants to know if the Flynn family is still involved in terms of input or oversight or just sort of you know checking things off.
No, not really. They never have been particularly. I mean, obviously, if I went off and did something crazy, they certainly would be. But we had a long talk when I first took it on about my philosophy of how the books were going to work, and I think they were satisfied the fact that I mean, my overarching philosophy was if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, it was an incredible series, and I said, my goal is to continue it on as Vince would have if he had still been writing.
I want to say though, and you're right, and I remember reading right when you picked up. In fact, and this helps with Tommy's question, which is how did you end up writing for Vince after he died? The book there was an incomplete book, right, that you ended up finishing for Vince's
Well,
life.
very incomplete as it turned out. Yeah, I thought there were 3 pages, and I thought because I write with an outline, very detailed outline and
Uh-huh.
research, and I don't start till I have all that, that the book was all but written. But he'd only written the 3 pages of prose. And
Oh,
turns out
wow.
that's not how he wrote. He just started on page 1 and wrote through. So that
Wow.
was all that existed. But the book prior to that, The Survivor, had clearly kind of cliffhanged and needed to be completed. You couldn't just leave that alone. So
Yeah.
I had basically a 500-page start on a 900-page book. So it is the way it worked out.
And was that it? Did he have any other notes or outlines or storylines that he was sort of musing with that you had access to? And along that same line, did he have like charts or sort of like a style book for certain characters that you were able to reference, or did you have to recreate that yourself?
No, none of that. He was a very it's amazing how much he could keep in his head.
Huh.
So I actually it's interesting because people do think that. I get that question a lot is are you still working through, this giant box of Vince's ideas, which
Yeah.
would not be possible because of the way the world has changed, So
Sure.
um no, I actually wrote that style sheet. I read all the books in order when I took over and took just tons of notes on all the characters and style and stuff like that. So I have that. But I don't reference as much as I once did though, because again, the world has changed so much.
Yeah.
You can't write a book like Term Limits or now or what, because it just has to be a little different.
Yeah, it has to be just pure technology, and so much of Vince Flynn's and the world that he lives in relies on technology.
And stylistically, books are different. Like books aren't, when I started, which was a long time ago on my own books, books were much longer.
Yeah.
And they're, so just a lot of weird stuff has changed.
So gosh, I fear that, again, I'm just speaking from my taste and what appeals to me. And I would hate for this to come out, but Mitch Rapp always had a sardonic wit. He was always sarcastic. He always had a one-liner. He was always wry. For me, your Mitch Rapp makes me just laugh. I think he's funny. I really do. And I don't know if that's you or if it's just where you imagine Mitch would be at this point in his life with everything he's been through. But every book now, the last several books, is just, there have been moments where I literally laugh out loud. And I love that. It cuts the tension.
Yeah, I mean, exactly that. So the one thing I changed in these books, other than I'm not counting things like killing characters and stuff like that, but when I took it over, I thought, I'm going to put some humor in these and see how it goes. Honestly, in The Survivor, I didn't realize I did it. And it was the audio reader who told me that, because he said, this book was kind of funny. And he's the guy that has to act it out. So
yeah,
he would know, right? And then I didn't get any pushback from fans. So I've continued that for the exact reason you just said. I love the cutting of the tension. To me, it's better to ride a roller coaster than to just, go uphill forever and get dropped,
Yeah.
So, I always think of like Indiana Jones as being the perfect action movie because you had these incredibly tense scenes and then it was fun.
And it really is a roller coaster. There are definite peaks in this book of high intensity action, and then you build back down, and then it builds back up, and then it gets very. I mean, is that deliberate, or is it just how the story flows?
No, it's deliberate because I mean I think of the opposite of that as being like if anybody's an aficionado of Asian action movies. A lot of times, like the credits end, they start shooting and they don't stop shooting until the credits stop. And a lot of them are fun, but at the end of it, you're just exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's 2 hours. Take 10 hours to read a book. So I feel like you want to kind of scale it up to the denouement, but you do that with that roller coaster thing. To me, that's always been more satisfying in a book than just hold on and your hair blown back for 10 hours.
Once again, if you're joining us live right now, and I know most of you are going to be watching this after the fact, but we're speaking with Kyle Mills. He, of course, is now the author and frankly the voice of Mitch Rapp now, created by Vince Flynn. His latest book is Oath of Loyalty, and I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of the Mitch Rapp thrillers, you're going to love this book, I assure you. But there's a lot develops in the Mitch Rapp world. Which, real fast, one last question about the book, and then we got to wrap things up too, because I don't want to take too much of your time. Eileen Kennedy goes through quite a bit in this book, and people forget about Eileen Kennedy, how important she is to these stories and to the narrative. And I would think, sort of sending her on such a journey is just as daunting, considering everyone has an image of who Eileen Kennedy is and where they want Eileen Kennedy to be. And Eileen Kennedy, for a while there, really loses her leverage in DC, which is the one thing she's always had.
Yeah, with the new president, people have to remember, the president sets the tone in Washington, and she serves at the pleasure of the president. So because she doesn't agree with him and where he's taking the country and what he wants to do to the CIA, she's put in a really difficult position, and also reflects on her involvement in that because you have to. I think it's easy and a lot of politicians are very good at saying, well, none of this is my fault, and then you say to them, but you've been in Congress for 45 years. I mean, you take any blame for that at all. And I hate that about Washington. There's always somebody to point the finger.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. So it's an interesting time for her to reflect on where she wants to go, where the country's going, and she's a great foil to Mitch Rapp because Mitch is so, I don't know, like, I mean, he's just such a hard charging character, and
Yep.
she's a little bit more philosophical.
It's a great relationship. It really is. And all of them, they always muse for so many of the books over the last 10, 15 years. Part of them are always wondering, when is, all right, you know what? I could give all this up. I can just raise my kid. I can just do this. I could just stop. But there is a sense of duty. They all have one thing, and that is duty and loyalty. And they know if they weren't there, how bad things would be. And I love that. I want people in our country to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's always that sense of responsibility from both of them that people admire in a character.
You mentioned your books that you'd written before you were given the honor and privilege and challenge to pick up Vince Flynn's books. Are you still you have a lot of other non-Mitch Rapp books in you that are sort of tugging at you?
I do, but I'll tell you, I can only do one a year, and it amazes me how many of my friends in the business can do two. Some of them are doing two and movies and Netflix series and all this stuff, and I can't do it. So Mitch is my full-time gig.
Well, that leads us to another question from Jeffrey. Are there any, movie streaming possibilities? The fact that there are so many outlets for streaming content right now, and they're all being consumed. I think the fact that Terminal List did such a huge, had such a huge impact on Amazon, and certainly when you get Chris Pratt attached to a project, that helps.
Sure.
Is there discussion? Because I mean, let's face it, the Vince Flynn. They could make movies for the next 30 years based on what's already been written.
Yeah, he's such a great character, and they made American Assassin into a movie, and yeah, there's always discussion with it, but to be honest with you, I kind of stay out of that. I love books. I love novels, and I've never written short stories or poetry or song lyrics or movies or anything. To me, this is my medium, and I love movies and I admire screenwriters, but I don't think it's the place for me.
I'm really sad now that this means Mitch Rapp the musical is not in the works.
No, I'd go see it though.
Yes, right? Who wouldn't see that? How are you already starting on the new one, or
I'm already well into it.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, it's due in April, so.
You want to give us a hint of anything?
No,
The country, where's it set? Nothing.
No. I always like to try to show a different face of Mitch Rapp, like give him a different challenge, and
Right.
so it'll be something he hasn't really done before. So, which I think is always fun to see how he reacts.
And I appreciate you giving us the time you did. I did have one last question. The tech aspects, the hacking, the stuff that it always seems very cutting edge in terms of the technological capabilities of our intelligence agencies and of these of our enemies and the kinds of, not just the weapons, but the stuff that they can do online or through the dark web or what have you. Do you have a consultant that works with you on that? Do you bounce this off of people?
Yeah, more than I had a number of people that I talk to about things, depending on the specific area, if there are areas that I don't know that much about. But that technology is becoming it's a real thorn in your side as a writer, because a lot of stuff you have to be very realistic fans expect that of these books. And for instance, I had him operating in Saudi Arabia, and that's so hard now because of the number of cameras and the AI. They can find you, track you, and it's just not realistic to think somebody could run around and shoot and all this stuff and nobody could find them. So, when he's operating there, there's a lot of talk of that and him trying to hide and knowing he can't be on the ground for very long and all that stuff. So
interesting.
And then when you look back, it's really funny. I mean, I think about my early books, and people still love those books, but I always ask him, so it doesn't bother you that he's like running around trying to find a payphone?
Right.
They see them as historical thrillers, or he needs to look something up and he has to go to a library.
Yeah. Instead of just reach into his pocket and pull up a browser.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I also love that Africa played a big role in this arc because I think Africa is such an incredible continent, and there's so much going on there. There's so much bad stuff going on there. But the way you paint the pictures of the beauty of the areas in Africa that Mitch finds himself, and the terrain, it's very exotic, I think, for most Americans. Listen, if we've been in this genre for the last 2 decades, it's been the Middle East, it's been
Yeah.
Asia, it's been Russia, maybe Eastern Europe. Africa's sort of uncharted, and of course Latin America and some of the issues there. But it's Africa's uncharted territory, and you're there a lot, and I love that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I spent some time living in South Africa and fell in love with it. And it's such a complex continent. There's people don't know much about it, so it's a great setting. And for Mitch, not geographically, but like philosophically, it's about as far from America as you can get,
Yeah.
in my mind. Like I always thought it was interesting when I was living there that you could watch the news and then the United States was never mentioned. It's just kind of like just not important to them at all. So you can get lost there still.
Kyle Mills, thank you for spending time with us tonight. I really do appreciate it, and more importantly, thank you for writing Oath of Loyalty, and thank you for keeping Mitch Rapp so alive and so vibrant and funny, and keeping Vince Flynn's name alive because he was such a legend, and we lost him too soon. And I can't imagine anyone else utilizing his characters and speaking on his behalf the way you have. It really is something.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Kyle. That is Kyle Mills. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks.
I hope I wasn't too gushy there, but I really do love these books, and I love how Kyle has picked up these books, and you will love them too. You really will. So please, if you haven't gotten it already, most of y'all in the book club have already gotten it, I know, when you've read it. But if you haven't, and if you're just coming across this video, picking it up on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're seeing it right now, if you need a good read, where are we? End of September right now when we're doing this. So we're getting into fall. You got a little extra time on your hands because the kids are back in school, before we get into the holidays, or maybe if you're traveling. Great book to have. Great book to have, and you will really enjoy it, I promise you. All right. So I want to do, all right. All y'all who aren't members of the locals community, you're going to get a freebie right now. All right. We're going to give you a preview. As you know, and as I announced to the locals community before anyone else knew it, about 2 months ago, that I had signed a deal to do a brand new primetime news program. I don't want to call it cable news because it's technically not on cable, but it's streaming. It's like Blaze, it's like Newsmax, it's like it's called Over the Top Media, right? It's on Salem News Channel. You get it through Roku, you get it through Amazon Fire, you get it through Apple TV. You can watch it on the browser, on your computer. You can get the app on your phone and your tablet. It's basically how everybody is getting news, information, and entertainment these days. It's called Salem News Channel. It's free. You can download the app and you can grab it on Roku or wherever you watch streaming content and get it for free. It doesn't cost you a GD thing. And I announced 2 months ago to my locals community that we had finalized the deal, and we were planning on this brand new television show, Primetime. We actually officially announced it yesterday, I think, was the official press release that was put out. Because there's no reason to announce this thing 2 months before the show starts. We officially announced it yesterday. I'm in the 9 p.m. slot starting this Monday, October 3rd. We've been in dress rehearsals all week this week. We've got a great team assembled. Meredith has been coming in and helping make sure I don't look like an idiot on camera. And I think she succeeded mostly. And it premieres this Monday night, 9 p.m. And I hope you can see it. If you can't see it live, you can certainly see it on demand. That's the nature of this. So if you get the app and you don't watch it live during the stream, or if you're watching it on Roku or wherever, you can always watch it the next morning. You can watch it late that night. Just go to the O'Connor Tonight page and just watch it whenever you want. You can watch it on demand. But what we have today for you, this is just, I was going to say it's just for our locals community, but it's for everybody watching right now, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. we have the show's opening graphics, the opening title sequence for the show. I'm not going to show because all the other content that we've been creating this week, all the interviews, we've been doing interviews with newsmakers. We've had a panel discussion. We've done monologues. We've done a bunch of segments, all for dress rehearsal. Some of them are so good that you might end up seeing it in some of our shows. We might play them as sort of recorded pieces next week. But we've been creating a lot of rehearsal content, and we're really happy with how it looks. We love how the set looks. If you're members of the Locals community at larryo'connor.locals.com, you've seen I've sent you pictures of what the set looks like and what the lighting is looking like, what the camera shots are. It's kicking ass right now. Can I just say it's kicking ass? So now I'm not going to show you any of that. But what I will show you right now is this opening title sequence. Let me just set it up here. All right, are you ready? This is what when it's showtime, when you tune in at 9 p.m. on Salem News Channel, this is what you'll see. You know what? Should I go full screen? Let me go full screen. I mean, come on. That's cool, right? I know. It's just a little thing, but I'm kind of jazzed about it. That looks cool. I'm going to do it again. Can we watch it again? I want to watch it again. Let's watch it again. Can we watch it together? It's very exciting. That's like a show. That's an opening for a TV show. And it's DC, and it's all red and blue and red, white. All right, one more time. Come on. All right, well, I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so that's our show opening. We have a show. What do you have an opening graphic package with music and jazzy opening music? You know you've got a show. That's our opening package. We're pretty excited about it. Listen, next week, I am tempted to actually do a viewing party at 9 p.m. when the show runs on Monday night. But, dude, I am going to be so tired that there is no way we're going to be able to do that. I'm sorry. Here's what we're going to do. I just can't. It's not going to happen. I cannot do it. I'll be, in fact, whatever. I'm going to be exhausted. So what we're going to do is on Thursday, our regular streaming night. Thursday is our streaming night. We're going to do a special locals only. So you YouTube, Facebook people who are watching right now for free, no more freebies for you. You got to be a member of the Locals community. On Thursday, I'm going to pull certain segments of the first 3 shows that we do, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some of our interviews, our panel discussions, monologues. We'll watch 3 segments together. I'll pause. I'll give you some insights into the construction of the scene, what happened backstage, behind the scenes, some of the things that were challenges for us. What I like about it, what I don't like about it, and what I still want to fix, because this is a work in progress. I assure you, whatever the show looks like next week is going to look different 3 months from now. And we're going to have a little viewing party on Thursday at 6:00. All right. So you got to be a member of the Locals community if you want to participate in that. And of course, we'll take your comments. We'll have a conversation about it. If you're watching on YouTube, join at larryo'connor.locals.com. You can join by using the code LarryYT, Larry YouTube, LarryYT, and you'll get a special deal. In fact, I think it's free for like the first month or 2, something like that. I can't remember. I'll be honest, I can't remember. And then if you're watching on Facebook, Larry FB for Facebook, and if you're watching on Twitter, Larry TW. We do these author interviews once a month for our book club, and we've had Jack Carr, we've had Brad Thor, we've had Vince Flynn, we've had Kurt Schlichter. Yeah, he wrote a book. You know, who knew? We also do collabs with other Locals communities. We had Kira Davis last week. I think we're having Nick Searcy. I want to have Nick Searcy in the next couple of weeks. We do special long form interviews. We had Robert Davi, the actor, legendary actor and director of the new My Son Hunter movie about Hunter Biden. We had him a couple of weeks ago, and we talked for over an hour. We do a lot of fun stuff here. Those are just the live streams, but you also get my show rundown every day of all the stuff that we talk about on the morning show on WMAL. And now that we've added the TV show, you're going to start getting behind the scenes videos on a regular basis, in studio, on set, during the day when we're working on the show, when we're constructing the show. You'll be able to see a lot of that insight into the TV show as well. So as my life gets more complicated and as we add more content that I'm creating for the world, that means everyone in Locals gets some more exclusive behind the scenes personal content as well. You also, by the way, get all of my columns. So you don't have to go hunting everywhere. You get all my columns that I write at Town Hall are all funneled through the Locals page. The videos that I'm doing for Facebook and social media for Town Hall are all posted on the Locals page. So you can just see everything right there. And most importantly, I put up pictures of the meals that I make at home here because I'm a bit of an amateur chef. Tonight I'll be posting a chicken breast with garlic zucchini noodle Alfredo. I know it sounds really healthy, doesn't it? But it was good. I ate it an hour ago. Yes, I post food porn. Exactly, Jeff. That's exactly what I do. All right. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Sarah, do you want to jump in here? Sarah is sort of the grande dame. There she is. She's muted though. Why are you muted? Oh, there you go. Can I unmute you?
I am muted. Hi.
There you go. Sarah's the grande dame of the Locals page, and she actually coordinates everything and puts everything up. And what have I forgotten? What else do people get if they join the Locals page?
I think you hit it all.
All right. But we're adding more things. I still want you and Tommy to do your own weekly or monthly live stream show.
Yeah. I'm looking at him.
What am I?
I'm looking at him to see if he can behave himself or not.
What could go wrong? Well, no,
I haven't even said
I don't
anything.
even use bad words.
You don't have to behave yourself. That's the beauty
That's
of
the
it. because
beauty of it.
The
right.
idiots at
go.
YouTube and Facebook and Twitter can't cancel us here. That's why we're on Locals. So don't
Right.
behave yourself. Tommy, don't behave.
I'm not behaving. Okay, so Larry, I'm sorry about your luck, but I am doing a chorizo, sweet potato, black bean, one pot cook right now. Let's go.
It sounds fantastic. It also sounds very HelloFresh.
No, it's not though.
All right. It sounds delicious. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with HelloFresh.
We actually just finished our last HelloFresh that we got via you.
Yeah. Okay. Did you
We
enjoy
are
it?
currently HelloFreshless.
Hey, Tommy, how's your fantasy football team doing so far?
I'm horrible.
Hey, Larry, how's your fantasy football
Yeah,
team
let's
doing?
talk about that.
I'm
You're
undefeated.
3-0.
Undefeated?
It's
What?
true. I'm
You
in
don't
first
say.
place. I'm
Is
the
he allowed
only
to say what his
undefeated
name
team
is?
in the league right now.
I think he can say. I mean, if he can say what his team name is if he wants to, but it's up to him.
My team name?
Mhm.
It's Kamala's Gender Fluid Redskins.
Everybody loves it.
It's a little politically
Okay.
incorrect. I'm not sure. But see, here's what was my
Here's
thinking
the-
was. You're not allowed to name a team Redskins, right?
Right.
But if they're gender fluid, you can't cancel them because how dare you? You
Oh,
transphobe.
Uncancelable.
That's right. The only
Brilliant.
Redskins that are allowed to be Redskins are gender fluid Redskins. And since they're Kamala's gender, you're also racist and sexist if you try to cancel them. So I got it all
Oh, I love
covered.
it.
It's the only way the Redskins could still be the Redskins is if they were Kamala's gender fluid Redskins.
They
That's
had the
why.
protections,
See,
all of the protections.
I put a lot of thought into my team name, my friend.
Clearly.
Yes.
Clearly. I love it. I love how it has a whole backstory and like it's fantastic.
I mean, the thing is, like, he's 3-0 right now.
I am 3-0, undefeated. This is Tommy and Tommy's family and friends. They have this league that they've had, and they, hey, we got an opening. Do you want to join? I say, sure, I'll join the league. Everyone hates me.
Well, do you know who they hated last year? Was
The guy who's gone now.
Sean Agnew. Sorry, we're bringing it up. Sean Agnew came in last year, and they're like, "Who is this guy? Why is he here?"
So you're saying you've brought 2 new people in over the last 2 years, and each year they're the one that comes in and
they're playing-
sweeps the league.
Yeah, they're better and better.
How many times have you won? This is funny because I actually know the answer to this question, which is why it's funny that I asked.
Once.
One time.
Once. In how many years?
So his special power, his superpower is bringing in winners
Right.
for the fantasy football
Because
league.
that's what I'm good at. I
That's
find
what-
people.
right.
I find people that want to win
Exactly.
and they want to do good. Self high five.
Let's go.
Hey, you know what it is, Larry? It's called Legend. Wait for it.
We're gonna get copyright infringed.
Dairy. Self high five. Let's go.
Done. Absolutely.
is.
Over the top.
Did you see that?
No, we can't see anything. The camera's not.
He
Does he
did
not know
this.
how cameras work?
And so over the top, he was very happy that you said that. It was actually, from my angle, being the only person that can see both of you in this entire situation, it was great.
A
Yeah.
little jarring.
Mhm.
Oh my God, Queen Elizabeth died. Why
Wait.
did no one mention this?
Nobody even talks about that.
I don't even know. What day is it? Did we time travel?
No idea.
Hold up, because nobody cares.
Wait,
Plenty
hey,
of
that's your
people
No,
sovereign.
we don't care. Why would we care about that?
I am a little
He's
bit
very
over it.
anti-royal family. He
I'm
can't even
anti-
like.
Fine woman. I'm just over
What?
it.
Exactly.
I'm not. I'm all about America. I don't care about. Oh, I'm sorry she died. She doesn't.
Come on.
I like it.
It came out way better than I thought.
I like it.
This is one thing. So here it's, radio is very low tech.
Mhm.
And, it's pretty much, turn on the microphone, plug into the transmitter, go. Right.
Sure.
And yes, we've got a few people who work on the show, but, on television, there's a whole lot of people that do things.
Yes.
You look really pretty.
And this has been a great,
Yeah.
exercise in me just being able to say, I trust you. Just do it.
Go.
I got
Go
no.
forth.
I
Go
can't
forth. Make things.
make it look good.
Mhm.
If I don't like it, I'll tell you. But otherwise, I don't need to be involved in that.
Mhm.
Very weird for me. Not
You're
my
delegating.
style. Not my style.
It's good.
But it's been fun. But it's like, what do you want the show opening to be? And I said, I don't know, maybe some shots of DC, make it look vibrant, make it look, kind of.
Now, can I have a question?
Yeah.
The effect on there, would you describe that as more smoky or cloudy?
I think it's cloudy. I think it's like
I was just curious. Every time I watched it, I was getting a different thing. So I was just
Yeah.
curious as to what your.
I would go with cloudy. I think it's sort of like an overview. We're flying by, and there's fireworks going on. I don't know if you saw that.
Absolutely.
We got the fireworks happening. I don't know. Let's see.
It's very. Oh no, definitely cloudy. Okay, see now that I look at it, but then also smoky.
But it's
I'm just
also-
saying I get a little bit of both.
Sure.
I also
Well,
get a
here's
little
the
bit
thing.
creamy,
So
too.
so there's some shots where you're on 14th Street passing the Washington Monument with the Capitol in the
Yes.
background. So it's ground level, and there it's foggy. But see, our show we clear out the smoke and fog,
So you're
and
seeing.
we illuminate what's going on in Washington.
See how clever?
I love
So
it. Where's the merch?
I love it. I do.
Where's the merch? He's always wanting the merch.
He
Give me
does.
some swag.
That's how you do it. Swag bag, merch. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Swag me. If we get swag, it will be free to our locals members.
Whoa.
do you think of that?
Bonus.
Wow.
Here's what's going to happen. We're going to get some swag. We are actually. It's funny you should mention swag. We are going to get swag. I bet. So last week we had the MRC gala dinner. I put the video right, and at that dinner was the guy who does the Chris Plant store, and we had a long conversation. And there's going to be we're going to have some swag. But what we're going to do is for anybody who is a locals community member, if you buy an annual membership, we're going to have it discounted for a full year. Instead of going month to month, we'll just all right, buy for a year and here's your free swag. That's what we're going
That's
to do.
fun. So anybody who's an annual subscriber will get.
That is correct. We're going to get
Okay, that's
probably
great.
a mug or maybe a
Right.
Stein. I'm thinking beer Stein. Better than
Ooh, a
the
beer
mug.
stein would
I'm
be cool
thinking
because it is a
Stein.
nighttime show. You're not
Exactly.
finally you're not limited by daytime and morning time swag.
Well,
You can
maybe
have
we'll have for the morning show, you can get an O'Connor and Company coffee mug.
mug.
But for
Mhm.
O'Connor tonight, for the night show, you can get a beer mug.
Exactly.
Wait, does he have
Frosted.
Does he have a catchphrase yet?
Let's go.
That's your job, Tommy, is to come up. Yeah, let's go. He's
I
gonna
already figured it out.
he's gonna steal your catchphrase.
What happens in your house is more important than what happens in the White House.
Hail to the Redskins.
Kamala's gender fluid Redskins.
Gender fluid Redskins.
All right.
That's not so. It's a little long. It's a little lengthy. Is the problem? It's an excellent.
So is Commanders, but they make it work.
Yeah, no, he's talking about your what happens in your house is more important than what happens on the White House
I
line.
know.
And I'm like, it's a great punchline, for lack of a better term. Like it's a great
I don't know if it's a
thesis statement, if
Yeah.
you will. But I don't know if it like goes on a t-shirt. Is what I'm
right.
saying.
Do I need to do better with my
Like, let's
budget?
go.
Is he gonna steal my let's go?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think it's
that's
already,
fine.
I'm pretty sure it's done.
How about if we have a T-shirt that says "domestic terrorist" and then underneath it in parentheses, parent?
Well, there you go.
Wait, I
That's
would wear that.
perfect.
I would
That's what
wear
I'm
that.
thinking. These are the things I'm thinking of.
You have one purchase.
One.
Oh.
One.
This is an excellent idea from Jeffrey in the chat.
Yeah. Which one?
He says, "What are you wearing?"
Oh, that should be what the shirt said. The
You need a
bunch says,
t-shirt. You need a
T-shirt that says, "What are you wearing?"
wearing?"
What are you wearing?
And that's like throwback. That's one
That is
thing
throwback.
Certain people would like.
That is throwback. Just
I
say,
like
what are you wearing? And then O'Connor tonight.
I think what Larry needs to do.
I really
is-
like that idea.
No,
I
but
think that's
what
fun.
Larry needs to do is do limited merch. Like the first one he does is go back and go, what can Brown do for you? Nothing. Limited merch.
You can't steal Amber's.
Amber.
money.
All
Because he
proceeds go to the Amber honeymoon
Because he still
fund.
has Amber.
All
Wait, no.
proceeds go to Amber Athey's wedding reception.
No, it goes to your pocket. Let's go. Sorry about our luck for getting fired.
No, that's not how we do things. But I do
Amber.
like that.
Amber.
Although, what about Jeffrey is referring to a Watcher Fez. So now there was a Dennis Miller had a DMZ listener Fez. It was I have one, by the way. I have one. When they were cleaning out, when they were shutting down the Dennis Miller show, Christian Blatt, the producer, gave me a DMZ Dennis Miller listener Fez, and I still have it. And because it was just Dennis Miller was weird, and so he said, "Well, let's come up with a Fez. You can wear the Fez when you listen to the show." So Jeffrey's saying an LOC listener Fez, but here's what I'm thinking: since it's a nighttime show, 9 p.m., how about O'Connor Tonight jammies?
Yes. Wait, I'm in with that.
Can it have a little flat butt? Like the little buttons?
No.
Those are so cute.
I was thinking a little sexier than that, but
Oh, you mean like adult jammies? Okay, they can be sexy jammies. When you say jammies, I think like little kid jammies. I don't know.
Oh my
Because you said
God.
jammies. is
O'Connor Tonight jammies.
Okay, that's fine. Silk, flannel.
I mean, it's a night show, right? It's an evening. Let's
Absolutely. Of course.
come on. Doesn't that, I'm pretty jazzed about that. Anyway, that's the show open. That's the graphics package, as they say. All right, everybody wants onesies. Everyone wants O'Connor Tonight onesies.
Wait, onesies
Unisex onesies.
Onesies.
I'm into that.
All right, we'll see what we
I
can
think it's a great idea.
Okay. I'm torn.
I'm into the jammies. Did a little like cute like Christmas jammies set with like the flannel, with the collar, and a little pocket, and your logo can be on the pocket. Little drawstring pants.
No, limited edition. You have to say limited edition.
That's fine. You can do limited edition, and then you can do like a silk pair.
They are selling out quick.
And what you mean is pajamas. Thank you. Children wear jammies. Oh no, what's wrong? What are you looking for?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one more little preview here. Hang
How
on.
lucky everybody is.
I've decided to give you one more sneak.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
You ready?
What a
smoking
treat.
jacket. Smoking jacket would be good.
Ooh.
All right. I'm going to give you one more
Jeff
sneak.
again with the ideas. Come on, Jeff. Yeah.
This is from yesterday's dress rehearsal.
Oh,
Are you ready?
I haven't seen this yet.
No one has seen this yet. All right. Stand by. Is happening in Iran, but sadly, if you're watching the mainstream media, they seem more concerned with the latest news out of Kardashian land. But it truly is extraordinary and deserves our attention. joining us right now is all right. So just so you know, this probably there was a tech problem with the Skype connection here, so don't be thrown off by a little bit of the sound being a little, just the editor in chief. But that's what the set looks like. How's that look? That's
I like that. I like that a lot. I like
you
how
like the set.
excellent. Also excellent. Because I know this is what I do. Excellent tie. I like your tie.
Oh, well, I chose that tie to match the Salem logo colors are blue. Salem News is blue and yellow. See,
nice, very nice. Okay. And the people of Ukraine,
Lisa
of course.
Daftari. Lisa, we're seeing women take to the streets, ripping off their headscarves and defiantly marching in protest against the authoritarian regime there. This is unprecedented, isn't it?
Unprecedented. Look, if you've been following what's been going on in Iran for the last 43 years, since the toppling of the Shah and the march of the Islamic Republic, you have seen a lot of protests. And every couple of years, we'll have some protests, probably the most notable one of the Green Revolution of 2009. But I will tell you, this is truly historic. We have never seen these protesters as bold, as brazen, as courageous as they are right now. And it's not just women. Of course, the catalyst for this round of protests was the murder of 22-year-old Massa.
All right, that's it. No more for you. No more. No more.
Is it a slight delay? Is that what is the delay?
Yeah, there was something weird. There was something weird with the audio sync on her Skype connection there, or the video connection. Okay. But that's why we do dress rehearsals.
It looks great.
It's a good looking show. Awesome. It's a good looking show. You saw the little graphics package there, the connection. She's in LA with the LA skyline. I'm in DC on the set, and then we did the video roll-in of the protests in Iran. And come on.
It's all happening.
All right. It is all happening. It's been a long, long process to get here, but this tomorrow's the last day. No, wait, what day is tomorrow? Friday? Tomorrow's the last day of rehearsals, and then Monday we will go. We're broadcasting at 9 p.m. Obviously, we're very excited about it. If you can let people know about it, I would appreciate it. Have them check out Salem News Channel, download the app on your devices, or just watch it on Roku or Apple TV or wherever you watch your streaming stuff. And we'll be live at 9 p.m. opposite Hannity. And there you have it. All right. What else? You got anything else for me?
I got one more thing.
Tommy has one more thing for you.
What you got?
Okay. So
we're about to find out.
I don't know if I can say this, and you can confirm or deny. So what I'm hearing from the people is that they are mad WMAL got bonked. Hold on, how to say this? I'm trying to say this properly.
Why are you dragging my radio station into this?
I have no idea.
People are mad that you guys on WMAL didn't cover election interference. Wait, am I saying it wrong? I'm saying it wrong.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh.
So
I'm pretty sure we talked about the 2020 election quite a bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In fact, we still talk about the 2020 election.
I was trying. I okay, I'll shut up.
That's fine. You know what, Tommy? Post it on the locals page. You have everyone who joins locals and joins LarryO'Connor.locals.com, they can post their thoughts and post their opinions on the page directly, and it's your page, and I have no idea what Tommy's talking about, but he can post it, and then we'll understand.
Right, there we go. He's been cooking, so
yeah,
it's very distracted.
Eddie Bacon, tell Holly Bacon we said hey, and we are praying for you.
Eddie.
The tropical storm Ian is heading right towards South Carolina, Georgia. It's ugly. Oh, you're having a hurricane party. I love that. That's very awesome.
Hurricane party. Stay safe, guys.
We're praying for you. Enjoy the rain. Get out there with a flag when the wind comes and give me a Florida Man video, man. Those are the best. Holly's cooking. How come she does all the cooking? You know what, Eddie? Get off your lazy ass and cook a meal for the family once in a while. Terrible.
Come on, Eddie.
Come on, Eddie Bacon. And Bacon Bit. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed our interview with Kyle Mills tonight.
Pleasure as always. I did actually. I thought he was really he was very engaging. I liked him a lot.
I love interviewing authors, obviously. Yeah. I really do. And I love interviewing authors. I don't care. I'm fans of their books. It's gonna be a very friendly interview. I love it.
There you go.
That's the way it is. deal with it.
He's a novelist, so it's not like you're not trying to like.
Right? Isn't it true?
Why did you have such and such character? What was the?
How dare you, sir?
What did you mean by that?
All right, it is time for me to go sleep because I have an early morning radio show because I love doing morning radio, as you know, on WMAL, and I'll be doing it for the rest of my life. Thank you for asking.
Ever and ever and ever and
That's right. I hope so. Knock on wood. Bye, guys. See you on Locals. Bye, Sarah. Behave yourself.
All right, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'll see ya.